The arena hung in space like a giant metal ring, cold and bright, circling a dead gray planet. Lights from 1,000 worlds shone across its surface. Inside, millions of beings watched from floating seats and tall towers, their voices mixed into one loud sound full of laughter and hunger. This place was built for death, and everyone knew it. At the center of the arena floor stood the arena master. He was tall, wrapped in dark armor that moved like living metal. His voice echoed through every chamber, sharp and proud. He enjoyed this moment more than anything else. "No human survives round one," he said. The crowd roared with joy. Many had heard this line before. It was tradition. Humans were rare in the games, and when they appeared, they died fast. Weak bodies, soft skin. No natural weapons. The arena master raised one hand, calling for silence. "Bring in the next fighters." Gates opened around the arena floor. Fighters walked out, one by one. Some were tall and scaled. Some had too many arms. Some moved like shadows. Weapons glowed in their hands. Armor clicked and hissed. The crowd watched closely, searching for favorites. Then one more gate opened. A single human woman stepped forward. She was not tall. She did not shine. She wore a simple gray combat suit with no marks of rank. Her hair was tied back. Her face showed no fear. Her name was Ava. Laughter rolled across the arena. Others made bets on how fast she would die. Screens zoomed in on her face, waiting for panic. They found none. The arena master looked down at her and smiled. "You heard the rule," he said. "Round one is death. Step back now, human, and you may live as a slave instead." Ava looked up at him. Her eyes were steady. "Watch me," she said. The words were simple, but they cut through the noise. The crowd quieted for a moment. Then they laughed again, louder than before. The arena master's smile faded. He turned away. So be it. The arena walls shifted and split apart. Massive metal sections rose and moved, forming a huge maze. Tall walls blocked sight. Dark paths twisted in every direction. Hidden doors slid open and closed. This was the first round. The maze of ending. Above, lights dimmed. Only the paths inside the maze glowed faint blue. The arena master spoke again. "Rules are simple. Reach the center beacon before the time ends. The maze will hunt you. Traps will trigger. Creatures will be released. Fight or hide. Only survivors move on." The gates to the maze opened. Fighters rushed in at once. Some ran, some charged. Some vanished into shadows. Ava did not run. She walked. As soon as she entered, the gate closed behind her with a heavy crash. The sound echoed through the maze. Ava stopped and listened. The air smelled of metal and dust. The floor vibrated slightly, like a living thing breathing. She looked left. She looked right. Then she moved. Cameras followed her steps, broadcasting to the crowd. Many lost interest fast. Humans did not last long. They turned their eyes to bigger fights deeper in the maze. Ava moved slowly, counting steps, touching walls, watching lights. She noticed small marks on the floor where others had died before. Burn lines, scratches, dark stains. A clicking sound echoed ahead. She stopped. From the ceiling, sharp blades dropped, without warning, slicing the air. Ava stepped back just in time. The blades slammed into the floor where she had been standing. Sparks flew. She did not panic. She waited. After a few seconds, the blades rose again. Ava marked the timing in her head and moved past when it was safe. Her breathing stayed calm. Elsewhere in the maze, fighters screamed. The arena master watched from his tower. He leaned forward slightly, eyes narrowing. The human was still alive. He dismissed the thought. Traps were only the beginning. A roar shook the maze. Doors creatures were released. Long bodies, hard skin, too many teeth. They hunted by sound and heat. Fighters who ran drew their attention fast. Ava heard one coming. She ducked into a side path and pressed herself against the wall. She slowed her breathing. She lowered her body heat by opening vents in her suit. The creature rushed past, chasing louder prey. The crowd murmured. Some leaned closer. "She is hiding," one voice said. "Coward," said another, but Ava kept moving. She reached an open space where paths crossed. In the center lay broken armor. A dead fighter. She took a small blade and a power cell. She did not look at the body for long. Time mattered. A sudden blast of light filled the air. Energy bolts flew from the far end of the path. Another fighter had seen her. He was tall, armored, and confident. He fired again, laughing. Ava ran down here. She turned corners fast, counting turns, listening to his heavy steps behind her. She led him toward the blade trap. She slowed just enough. The clicking sound began. She dropped and rolled. The blades fell. When Ava stood again, the path behind her was silent. The crowd gasped. The arena master stood still. Minutes passed. Fighters died. Traps claimed more lives. The maze shifted, closing paths, opening new ones. Ava adapted. She learned its rhythm. She began to move with it instead of against it. Her suit showed damage. A cut on her arm bled slowly. She wrapped it tight and kept going. A distant glow appeared ahead. The center beacon. Other survivors were moving toward it too. Ava heard fighting. Loud. Desperate. She slowed again. A large fighter blocked one path, smashing anyone who came near. Ava watched from the dark. She waited until a creature attacked the fighter from behind. As they struggled, she slipped past them both. The beacon grew brighter. The floor shook harder now. The maze was angry. Ava broke into a run. A wall shifted suddenly, cutting her off. She slid to a stop. The ground beneath her opened. She jumped just in time, grabbing the edge. Below was darkness. Her arms burned. She pulled herself up. The beacon was only a short distance away now, a final stretch of open ground. Ava stepped forward. The last creature rose from the floor, larger than the rest. Its eyes locked on her. The crowd held its breath. Ava ran straight at it. At the last second, she dropped, slid beneath its strike, and drove the blade into a weak joint she had noticed earlier on another creature. It screamed and fell. Ava stood. She reached the beacon and placed her hand on it. A loud tone sounded. Round 1 ended. Lights flared across the arena. The maze froze. Gates opened. Ava walked out, alive. The arena was silent. Then, slowly, the noise returned. Not laughter this time. Shock. Confusion. Something close to fear. The arena master stared down at the human who should have died. Round 1 had been broken. The maze was still when Ava stepped back onto the main arena floor. Dust from broken walls swirled around her boots. The crowd's eyes followed every step she took, their chatter rising into whispers of disbelief. No human had ever survived round 1. She had done more than survive. She had dominated the traps, creatures, and other fighters with calm and skill that made even the most experienced aliens pause. Other survivors emerged slowly. Many were bruised, bleeding, or limping. Some were small, quick creatures that had managed to hide. Others were armored brutes that had fought and killed many foes. Ava noted them carefully, reading their movements and temperaments. She did not trust anyone, she only relied on herself. A tall alien with silver skin and sharp claws named Kor approached her. He had been watching her carefully. Impressive, he said in a low guttural tone, but luck does not last. The maze changes, and next round, it will eat the weak. Ava did not smile. I do not rely on luck, she said simply. Her eyes scanned the arena. She noticed cameras in hidden corners, tracking everything she did. She ignored them. The arena master spoke again from his tower. His voice carried a dangerous calm. Humans are clever, it seems, but round 2 will show the true end of your kind. Prepare yourselves. Round 2 was different. Survivors were moved into open fields within the arena. This time, the paths were not walls, but wide spaces filled with strange weapons, platforms, and deadly hazards. The rules were simple. The last team or person standing would move forward. This meant alliances could form, but betrayal was expected. Ava observed the other survivors. Some whispered among themselves, forming temporary alliances. She noticed one young mechanic, Leo, who did not carry weapons but had small tools and gadgets attached to his belt. He kept quiet and seemed thoughtful, watching others more than acting. Another fighter, Mira, a tall alien with glowing red eyes, studied Ava closely. There was suspicion in her gaze. When the horn sounded, the field erupted into chaos. Fighters ran across platforms, dodged traps, and fired weapons at anyone nearby. Ava moved slowly, letting others expose themselves first. She avoided unnecessary fights, watching patterns and weaknesses. Her calm made her dangerous. Leo tried to follow her, hesitating when stronger fighters appeared. Ava noticed and subtly guided him away from danger. He nodded quietly, trusting her for the first time. Mira, however, was not so cooperative. She attacked Ava with sudden strikes, testing her. Ava countered easily, using her environment instead of brute strength, and then moved away before Mira could land a real blow. Traps on the field were constant threats. Energy grids shot out at random intervals. Platforms shifted without warning, and hidden mines exploded when triggered. Many fighters fell victim to these hazards. Ava used timing, observation, and quick thinking to stay ahead. She marked weak points in platforms, predicting where creatures would come from, and avoided all direct confrontation unless necessary. The field was alive, and Ava moved with it. At one point, Mira tried to ambush Leo. Ava saw it from a distance. Instead of running, she created a distraction by triggering a trap above Mira. The explosion threw Mira off balance, giving Leo enough time to escape. When Mira recovered, Ava had already vanished into the shadows. Leo ran to her quietly, grateful and impressed. The crowd began noticing the human strategy. She did not fight directly. She did not rely on strength. She relied on intelligence, patience, and observation. Other survivors who had mocked her before were either dead or struggling. Ava's calm and careful moves began turning the tide. Kor tried to attack her in the middle of the field. He lunged with claws ready, confident he would end her quickly. Ava anticipated his movement. She dodged, then used a shifting platform to send Kor flying into a pit trap. The crowd gasped again, some cheering, others unsure what they had just witnessed. The arena master's frown deepened. The human was not supposed to survive this round. As the round continued, more hazards came. Energy waves pulsed across the field, forcing fighters into the open. Some ran blindly, falling into traps. Others fought desperately. Ava avoided them all, making calculated moves to get closer to the center of the field where the beacon awaited. She helped Leo avoid several deadly traps, his gadgets assisting her in turn, a silent partnership forming without words. Mira returned with renewed fury. She tried to attack Ava again, but Ava had predicted it. When Mira struck, she was met with Ava's clever counter, using the trap's momentum to knock her back and injure her leg. Mira snarled but retreated, nursing her wound. Finally, the field emptied of all but Ava and Leo. The last few remaining fighters either fell to traps or fled in panic. The beacon in the center glowed brighter, pulsing as if sensing the survivors. Ava and Leo approached it carefully. Every step was measured, every glance alert for dangers that could strike from hidden corners. Ava touched the beacon first. A surge of energy ran through her suit, a sign that she had completed the round successfully. Leo followed, his hand trembling slightly as he touched the beacon beside her. They had survived. Together. The arena erupted with sound again, this time not mocking, but in stunned appreciation. The human had done more than survive. She had navigated the chaos, avoided death, and even protected an ally. The crowd's awe was palpable. The arena master clenched his fists, watching from above. He had underestimated her, and he knew it. This human was different. He was clever, adaptable, and unafraid. His control over the games felt threatened for the first time. Ava stepped back from the beacon, looking around. Leo was beside her, silent but aware of what had happened. Other fighters were gone, their screams fading into the echoes of the arena. She had survived again, proving her skill and strategy. The first 2 rounds had been deadly, yet she remained alive, calm and focused. The crowd's cheers continued. Aliens, humans, and creatures alike watched with new respect. Ava was no longer just a human in the games. She was a symbol of possibility, a reminder that rules could be broken, that strength was not only measured in power or weaponry, but in mind and courage. The arena master spoke once more, voice cold and commanding, yet tinged with unease. Prepare for round 3. Only the clever and the strong will survive. Humans may be clever, but they are not strong. We will see who prevails. Ava nodded slightly, almost to herself. She had survived 2 rounds. She had learned, adapted, and overcome. Round 3 would be harder, but she was ready. More than ready. She had a plan. She would not just survive, she would prove them all wrong. The games were changing, and she was leading the change. The arena held its breath, waiting for the next round. Ava and Leo moved toward the preparation area, quiet, alert, and unstoppable. Every eye in the arena watched them, knowing something remarkable had just begun. The human had survived not just the first maze, but the open battlefield as well. And now, no one could say the games were predictable. The arena changed again. Round 3 was not a maze or open field, but a massive arena filled with shifting platforms, energy barriers, and strange terrain that could not be predicted. Survivors from the previous round were brought in, each carrying the scars of battles fought. Ava and Leo stood at the entrance, taking in the new battlefield with careful eyes. The rules were announced by the arena master. Teams would be formed from the survivors, but betrayal and deception were encouraged. Only those who reached the center alive would move forward. Weapons of all types were scattered across the arena, but the traps were deadlier than ever. Ava noted the placement of items quickly, calculating which could be used and which could be deadly. Leo stayed close, silent but observant. He carried a few gadgets and traps he had made in previous rounds. Ava nodded at him once, and together they moved forward. They had learned from each other. He understood her thinking, and she trusted his intuition. Other fighters eyed them warily. Some wanted to form alliances, others wanted to attack immediately. Ava stayed calm, letting others make the first moves. She had survived 2 rounds by observing and choosing battles carefully. Round 3 would be no different. A group of tall, armored aliens approached them. Their leader, a fierce fighter with gray scales and sharp teeth, spoke in a loud voice. "Human, your luck ends here. Join us, or die. I do not need luck, I do not join others." The alien sneered, thinking it would be easy to kill her. They rushed forward. Ava stepped aside at the last moment, using a platform that shifted beneath the attackers. The movement threw 2 off balance, and 1 fell into a trap below. Leo used a small energy pulse to stun the remaining 1, giving them a clear path forward. The arena was alive. Platforms moved, barriers rose and fell, and creatures emerged from hidden doors. Ava and Leo dodged energy waves, leapt over spikes, and used walls as cover. They stayed together, careful to protect each other, but avoiding unnecessary confrontation. Each step was calculated, each breath measured. Another fighter, Mira, who had tried to attack them before, returned with a small group. She attacked from multiple directions, hoping to catch them off guard. Ava anticipated her moves. She triggered a trap above Mira's path, sending debris crashing down and scattering the attackers. Leo took the opportunity to disable a nearby energy panel, causing the arena's floor to shift against the remaining threats. Ava's strategy was simple but effective. She did not fight directly unless she had to. She used the arena itself, the traps and hazards, as weapons. Fighters who underestimated her were eliminated one by one. Time passed. Energy barriers rose and fell, platforms shifted, and creatures hunted relentlessly. Ava kept moving, always alert, always calculating. Leo proved useful, setting traps for approaching enemies and aiding Ava in avoiding hazards. Their silent coordination was perfect. It was clear they had developed trust and understanding that others could not match. The center beacon came into view, glowing faintly through a series of obstacles. The last few survivors were struggling. Some had been injured in the chaos, while others had fallen victim to the arena itself. Ava and Leo moved carefully, avoiding the remaining threats. Mira tried one last desperate attack, but Ava predicted her trajectory. Using a combination of speed and a small platform trap, she turned Mira's assault against her, causing her to stumble into a pit. They placed their hands on it simultaneously. A pulse of energy shot through the arena, signaling the end of the round. They had survived again. The arena master's voice boomed, tinged with anger and disbelief. No human had ever survived this far, let alone with another alive. The crowd erupted. Build the arena. Humans had never shown such skill, intelligence, and calm under pressure. Ava had not only survived, she had thrived. She had outsmarted stronger, faster, and more numerous opponents. Ava stepped back from the beacon, breathing steadily. Leo was beside her, smiling faintly. They had proven themselves, but the arena would not rest. The final round would be the ultimate test. The arena master would not allow them to continue without a fight that tested every skill, every instinct. Ava looked around, studying the arena one last time. She had learned from the first 3 rounds. She knew how to survive, how to adapt, and how to anticipate threats. The final round would be dangerous, but she was ready. More than ready. She had a plan, and she would not fail. The human spirit, clever and fearless, had made its mark. The arena master had underestimated her, and that mistake would cost him in the final test. The final round loomed over the arena like a dark storm. The floor was a shifting landscape of jagged metal, glowing energy lines, and dangerous chasms. The air hummed with tension. Every camera, every eye, every creature in the arena was trained on the remaining survivors. Only a few had made it this far. Ava and Leo stepped carefully into the field, scanning the deadly terrain ahead. The arena master's voice filled the arena, calm yet heavy with threat. This is the end. The arena itself will decide your fate. Only the clever and the fearless will survive. Humans are clever, yes, but fearless? We shall see. Ava did not speak. She felt the tension, the pressure, but she did not let it reach her mind. She studied the terrain, noting the energy lines that pulsed in rhythm, the platforms that shifted unexpectedly, and the areas where gravity changed. She had survived every round by observing, predicting, and adapting. This final round would be no different. They moved forward cautiously. Lio stayed close, his eyes scanning for threats. They avoided creatures that emerged from hidden doors, energy traps that pulsed unpredictably, and platforms that tilted without warning. The arena seemed alive, feeding on fear, but Ava did not fear. She observed, she calculated, and she advanced. A large creature, taller than any they had seen before, with armored skin and glowing red eyes, rose from a chasm below. Its roar shook the platforms. Ava and Leo dodged its initial attack, moving as one. Ava spotted a weak point in its armor and motioned to Leo. Together they led the creature toward a collapsing bridge. At the right moment they jumped aside and the bridge fell, sending the creature into a deep pit. They did not pause. More dangers awaited. Gravity shifted suddenly. The arena tilted, forcing survivors to cling to the walls and move sideways to avoid falling. Energy beams crossed the platforms, pulsing with deadly rhythm. Ava used every lesson she had learned to navigate the hazards. Timing, calculation, patience, and courage guided her steps. Leo followed closely, helping when necessary, but also learning from her movements. Other survivors tried to attack, forming temporary alliances. Ava avoided them, turning their fights against each other using traps in the unstable terrain. She did not kill unnecessarily, but forced the arena to remove threats for her. It was a dangerous dance, and she moved like a shadow through chaos. The crowd watched in awe. Cameras followed every maneuver. Aliens, humans, and creatures alike began to whisper that perhaps this human was something beyond ordinary. She did not rely on brute strength. She relied on mind, strategy, and an unshakable calm. The arena master's voice came again, sharp and controlled. The human persists. Perhaps you are more than clever. But no, one can escape the arena itself. Suddenly the terrain shifted violently. Platforms collapsed, energy barriers surged unpredictably, and creatures appeared in swarms. Ava had been waiting for this. She used the chaos to move faster, predicting shifts before they happened. She guided Leo through paths that others had not noticed, avoiding traps and ambushes alike. Ava paused briefly to study the center beacon. It pulsed with bright light, signaling the final destination. But between her and it, the arena itself became a living trap. Energy waves, shifting gravity, and hidden creatures surrounded them. Ava's mind raced. She did not panic. She focused, analyzing patterns, anticipating hazards, and creating paths in real time. Leo tried to jump across a collapsing platform, but a crack appeared beneath him. Ava reached out, catching his arm just in time and pulling him to safety. He looked at her with admiration. Together, they had survived the impossible. They reached a narrow corridor that led to the beacon. Creatures blocked the way, their eyes glowing with hunger. Ava waited, studying the creatures. She noticed a rhythm in their movement, a weak spot when they lunged. She moved first, drawing one forward while Leo circled to the side, creating a distraction. The creatures collided and fell into a chasm. The path was clear. Ava and Leo ran the final stretch, energy pulses from the beacon lighting their way. Every step counted. The arena tried to stop them, shifting violently and releasing energy surges, but Ava adapted instantly. She jumped, rolled, and dodged. Leo followed, trusting her guidance. Finally, they reached the beacon. Ava touched it first, feeling the surge of energy. Leo followed. The arena froze. All movement stopped. The creatures paused. The energy barriers collapsed. The audience held its breath. Ava stepped back and looked directly at the main camera. Her voice was calm, strong, and unwavering. "Watch me." The arena master's voice was heard one last time, trembling with anger and disbelief. Impossible. Humans should not survive. The arena systems failed, unable to process her victory. The walls retracted, the platform stopped moving, and the light from the beacon bathed the entire arena. Ava had not only survived, she had overcome the ultimate test. Leo stood beside her, smiling faintly, exhausted but alive. They had done the impossible. The crowd erupted in a mixture of shock, admiration, and awe. Humans had never been seen as powerful in the arena, but Ava had proven otherwise. Her intelligence, courage, and unshakable calm had changed the rules. She was no longer just a competitor. She was a symbol of human potential. The arena master had been defeated not by strength, but by the skill and determination of a human who refused to give up. Ava and Leo looked around. The the arena silent but alive with the energy of possibility. The games were over, and a new era had begun. Humans were no longer weak. Humans were clever, fearless, and unstoppable. The arena was quiet now. The chaos of the final round had ended, but the energy in the air was thick with disbelief. Ava stood at the center of the field, hand still on the beacon that pulsed with steady light. Leo was beside her, breathing heavily, his suit scorched and damaged but alive. Around them, the arena slowly retracted its walls, revealing the full scale of the massive structure. The crowd was silent for a moment, then erupted into cheers, not of mockery but of astonishment. The arena master appeared on his high tower, his armor reflecting the pulsing light of the beacon, and his voice was sharp, strained with anger and disbelief. "This cannot be. Humans are not meant to survive. You have broken every rule, defied every expectation." Ava looked up calmly. She did not smile, did not taunt. She simply looked, steady and unshakable. "I survived because I did not give up. I did not rely on luck or strength alone. I used my mind, my senses, and my courage. That is why I am still standing." The crowd murmured, many creatures shifting uncomfortably in their seats. They had come to watch humans die, and now a human stood victorious. Ava had become more than a competitor. She was a symbol, a sign that humans were not to be underestimated. Leo glanced at her, a mix of pride and relief in his eyes. "You were incredible," he said quietly. "We survived," Ava replied simply. Her eyes scanned the arena, noting the damaged platforms, fallen creatures, and shattered weapons. Every danger had been met with calculation and courage. The arena had tried to kill her in every way possible, and she had turned each threat into advantage. The arena master clenched his fists, his voice rising as he spoke. "You have broken the arena. You have survived its traps, its creatures, its rules. This is unprecedented." Ava took a step forward, her movements deliberate and controlled. She addressed the entire arena, her voice carrying over the massive structure. "Humans are not weak. We are clever. We adapt. We survive when others believe it is impossible. That is the truth you have ignored." Gasps filled the crowd. Aliens whispered among themselves, some shocked, some impressed, and some angry that the rules had been broken. The arena master had always controlled every round, every outcome. Now, he had lost control, and a human had proven that the games could be changed. Leo stepped beside Ava, holding a small device he had used to disable several energy traps during the final round. "We did it together," he said. Ava nodded, acknowledging the partnership that had kept them both alive. She had taught him to trust his instincts, and he had helped her navigate dangers she could not see alone. Together they had overcome the impossible. The arena trembled as systems failed. Energy lines flickered, and some platforms collapsed silently, leaving empty spaces where creatures had once prowled. The beacon's light grew brighter, bathing Ava and Leo in its glow. The audience watched, unsure whether to cheer, gasp, or flee. The rules of the arena no longer applied. They had witnessed something extraordinary. The arena master stepped down from his tower, his armor clanking as he moved. He approached Ava and Leo, the authority he had always held now shaken. "You have survived every challenge. You have outsmarted traps, creatures, and fighters far stronger than you. You are remarkable. But know this. This does not change the galaxy. Humans are still rare, still fragile. You are exceptions." Ava looked at him, steady and unwavering. "I am not an exception. I am proof. Humans are clever, strong in mind and spirit. We survive when others fail. The arena has tried to prove otherwise, and it has failed." The arena master hesitated, his voice softened slightly, tinged with respect he had never admitted before. "Then perhaps the arena must adapt. Perhaps humans must be respected in these games." The arena had been built to test strength, skill, and fear, but she had shown that intelligence, patience, and courage could overcome all. Leo stood beside her, a silent witness to the human triumph. The crowd began to cheer, slowly at first, then louder and louder. Aliens and humans alike rose to their feet, shouting in awe and admiration. Ava had rewritten the expectations of the games. A human had survived every round, outsmarted every trap, and conquered the ultimate challenge. As the lights of the arena brightened and the crowd's noise reached a peak, Ava and Leo walked together toward the main exit. They were not victorious in the sense of trophies or prizes, but they had achieved something greater. They had proven that humans could survive, adapt, and overcome, even in the most impossible circumstances. Ava glanced back one last time. The arena, once a place of death and fear, now seemed different. It had been beaten not by brute force but by mind, courage, and determination. Humans had shown they could rise above expectations, and the galaxy would never see them the same way again. Outside, the ships and lights of countless worlds reflected the victory of one human woman and her ally. They had survived the impossible. They had rewritten the rules of the arena, and they had shown that courage and intelligence could surpass any threat, any fear, and any opponent. The arena master remained silent for a long moment, watching as Ava and Leo disappeared from view. The games would continue, but the legend of the human would remain. No one would forget the day a human survived, the day a human triumphed, the day a human showed that fear could be mastered and death could be faced with calm and cleverness. Ava and Leo stepped into the light, free from the arena's grasp, and into a universe that had just learned a powerful new truth. Humans were not weak. Humans were unstoppable when they refused to give in.